Paramagurubhyo Namaha. Om Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. Jnananandam Nayam Devam Nirmalam Spatikakritim Adharam Sarvavidhyanam Ayagrivam Upasmahe. Om Ajnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. We have gathered here on the seventh session of the course Flavors of Vaishnavism. Today is another beautiful philosophy we are going to see. It's called Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya. Those who have been attending these courses for past 6 weeks, 6 sessions, you must have heard several technical terms, many philosophies, but today it's going to be much lighter and easier as well, because the philosophy that we are going to see is non-different from one of the philosophy that we already visited few sessions back. So just this particular sampradaya, or the school of thought, is established by a great saint called Ramananda. Sitanada Samarambham Sri Ramanandhaya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So at this time, let's take a moment to offer our prayers to the great saint by name called Ramananda, by whose mercy we will enter into the school of thought of Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya. Beautiful one. It's all about bhakti, and it's all about the great divine couple Sitaram. Among those who established various siddhantas after Sripad Ramanujacharya, one very notable acharya is Ramananda, who followed majority of his philosophy from Vishishta Advaita Siddhanta. That is why I was in the introduction, I was just saying it is going to be much easier today, because we already visited Vishishta Advaitam, which is our third session by Ramanuja. So this is pretty much a shadow or a blueprint of Vishishta Advaita Siddhanta. It is said Ramananda was appeared in Allahabad, India, and he spread Ramanuja's Bhakti Marga in the northern part of India. Now, in his Sampradaya, the three very important aspects or key contribution that Ramananda has done is these three things: established bhakti, which was lacking in the northern part of India. Because bhakti, it is said the bhakti appeared or originated in the southern part of India, South India, Dravida Desha, which is called as Tamil Nadu. From there, bhakti traveled. If we read Bhagavata Mahatmyam, it is very clearly said where bhakti appeared and how she regained herself and her children, two children, Jnana and Vairagya. So therefore, bhakti originated in South, and that was taken and spread all over the north part of India, and that credit especially goes to Ramananda. The second thing is Sant Parampara. Sant means the saints Parampara. That traditionally there were many saints in India, and then it's all also originated from this particular sampradaya. As we go further down into this presentation, we will be astonished to see some of the great souls whom we have mentioned and whose name has been called out several times, but we didn't know that. We might be surprised that they all also fall into this Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya. Of course, they have a difference of opinions later, and they all have their own school of thought later, but it came from Ramananda. The third very important, which very notable in the contribution of Ramananda, by Ramananda, is his teachings are very inclusive, allowing people from different ranges, all classes, to participate in the Bhakti Marga. in those times, in those period, it was very prominent that one can only do bhakti if you fall into that particular jati or a caste. If you're not into that caste, then definitely one cannot take up the process of bhakti. But when Ramananda appeared, he took this to the next level of where he opened up the doors and gates where anyone and everyone, irrespective of which jati they fall into, come into or take birth, they all can, they all are qualified to attain mukti. They all can perform bhakti and attain mukti. Here is one important point that to be noted, mentioned as bhakti. When we speak about bhakti, what Ramananda speaks about is Bhakti Marga, and that is what he was propagating and promoting. Whereas he is not focused on the Bhakti Yoga part. In Ramanuja Sampradaya, pretty much same, but then Ramanuja focused on explaining the Bhakti Yoga. Not that he adapted and promoted Bhakti Yoga. According to the Ramanuja Sampradaya, there's two parts for one to attain mukti. One is Bhakti Yoga, another one is Sharanagati. Even though there is two paths agreed by Ramanuja Sampradaya, the importance were given to Sharanagati because Bhakti Yoga is not very easy to be performed by anyone and everyone. But nevertheless, Ramanuja mentioned that, especially in the entire Gita Bhashya, he focuses on Bhakti Yoga, unless he mentions about Sharanagati in his commentaries, in Ramanuja's commentary on Gita, Bhagavad Gita in Gita Bhashya. Whereas in Ramananda, he less focused or gave importance to Bhakti Yoga, but then primarily focus on the Bhakti Marga. So at this point, it's very important to understand the difference between Bhakti Marga and Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Marga is a means to attain love of Godhead, to develop the prema towards the Lord. Whereas Bhakti Yoga is the means to attain moksha. Of course, there's love involved in that one also, but the primary focus is to attain moksha. Whereas in the Bhakti Marga, the focus is love of Godhead. What can I do for you in the Bhakti Marga? Whereas in the Bhakti Yoga, what can I, how can I get with you? I mean, how can I come close to you? How can be with you in proximity and so forth? In Bhakti Marga, the behavior and approach towards God is based on love and affection. Hmm? And also it is the Bhakti Marga is performed either individually or in a collective way, where one can perform bhajan together, one can do kirtan together, one can engage in the deity worship, one can go in tirtha yatras and holy dhams, one can serve the temples, one can serve the devotees. All those are part of Bhakti Marga. Whereas when it comes to Bhakti Yoga, we should understand Bhakti Yoga, uh, as per the Vedic system, as per the Upanishad, it is not a combined effort. It has to, yoga means it's always performed individually. It is done by oneself, not in a group. Therefore, here Bhakti Yoga is completely focusing on the self within without any distraction, not even a little bit of distraction, complete dhyana, coming to the point of samadhi, right? So there are different Bhakti Yogas, which is being recommended in Upanishad. It is said there are 32 types of Vidyas. Vidyas mean upasanas. Upasana means dhyana. Dhyana means Bhakti Yoga. There are 32 types of being explained in different Upanishads. Isha Vashya Vidya, Nachiketa Vidya, Parama Purusha Vidya, Akshara Para Vidya, Varuni Vidya, Nyasa Vidya, Akasha Vidya, Prana Vidya, Madhu Vidya, Sandilya Vidya, Bhauma Vidya, Dahara Vidya, Sadvidya. There are many, many Vidyas. These are all different ways that one can pick, one can choose and select one particular Vidya and then master that particular Vidya. And that is Bhakti Yoga, traditionally. But when it comes to Bhakti Marga, none of those things is really needed. None of those things really needed, where one doesn't need to go to a secluded place. Where for one to perform Bhakti Yoga, one has to be in a secluded place because one has to completely meditate upon the Paramatma within our heart. bringing right to in front of our eyes. So that is Bhakti Yoga, where in Bhakti Marga, none of those things are really a prerequisite. Even for that matter, Bhakti Yoga, for one to perform Bhakti Yoga, one must have gone through the karma and jnana to perform Bhakti Yoga. Karma yoga must be performed. When karma yoga is performed, the chitta suddhi happens and they qualify to take up the jnana yoga. When the jnana yoga is matured, one can see oneself become a self-realized soul. Once one become a self-realized, then they start relating themselves, well, I am self, there must be a super self which controls all the self. That's when they get into a bhakti yoga. Whereas when it comes to bhakti marga, there is no prerequisite like that of bhakti yoga. Anyone in any stages of life, one can take up bhakti marga. One can express their love in any languages, especially in the Bhakti Marga. It's not necessary one has to know a particular language. For example, Sanskrit. It's not necessary one has to know Sanskrit. One can just perform bhakti to the Lord with whatever language. It could be Hindi, it could be Marathi, it could be Telugu, it could be Malayalam, Tamil, Sindhi, whatever you can think of. One can pick up any local language, that their mother tongue, and express their love and devotion to the Lord. That is another difference. So it's very important to know the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Bhakti Marga, and what Ramananda, Swami Ramananda Acharya, are focused on Bhakti Marga, not on the Bhakti Yoga part. Ramananda had such an influence towards the northern part of India, where many people are easily appreciated is easy approach. The languages that he used, especially he's preached everyone in Hindi. Huh? So everyone were easily able to adapt and get attracted to the Ramananda's philosophy. It is also said, let's move on before we get into the writing. It is also one of the another thing is that as we saw the mantra here, Sitanada Samarambam Sri Ramanandaraya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So this is a Guru Parampara sloka. In the Guru Parampara sloka, it says where this parampara starts from. Hmm? The Arambam, Samarambam means it started from where? Sitanada. Sitanada means Lord Ramachandra. Hmm? From Ramachandra to Sita to Hanuman, Brahma, Vashishta, Parasara, Vyasa, Sukha, and then it came down all the way down to Rahavanandacharya, and Rahavanandacharya disciple Ramanandacharya. So that is their Guru Parampara, where a little bit of life history of Ramananda is not much to speak about him as well, not much available to know about him. But the researchers have said that he appeared in Allahabad. That's where he appeared. And the period, again, there's a difference of opinion. There's a period when he was appeared was between 1300 and 1411. That was the duration he lived. And some says that it is 1400 to 1470. That's the time frame he lived. But he was very scholarly. Just because he was preaching and he was emphasizing local languages and Hindi language and so forth, doesn't mean that he doesn't know Sanskrit. He was very scholarly, very well versed in Sanskrit, very well versed in the Vedas and scriptures, everything. But mainly he used the media to communicate with others, the common people, is in Hindi, the local language where he was at that time. The people whom he reached were very comfortable because it is not complicated language like Sanskrit. It was easy for them to understand. Being attracted and being very much attracted and being a follower of Ramanujacharya Siddhanta, he has read Ramananda has read many books that was part of Sri Sampradaya. Sri Sampradaya is Ramanuja Sampradaya. Not only that, being fascinated by Ramanujacharya, he traveled to southern part of India, especially the south part of India, Tamil Nadu, so forth, where he visited many acharyas in the Sri Sampradaya. He had many conversations, philosophical conversation with them, and learned many things. And not only that, he visited many Divya Desam in the southern part of India. And also he visited all the places that Ramanujacharya visited and performed his leelas at that time. Therefore, he was very attracted to Ramanujacharya and his philosophy. But whatever the case may be, um, his faith towards Ramanujacharya was so strong that he was also had faith in Ramanujacharya's the three mantras, Ashtakshara mantra, Dvaya mantram, and Charma slokam. Those are the three important mantras for those who get initiated in Sri Sampradaya. The Acharya imparts these three mantras to the disciple. And those mantras should not be openly spoken, openly given. It has to be received by Guru Parampara. Therefore, we will not tell those mantras here. But those are the three mantras, Ramanujacharya, which was also Ramananda was also having a complete strong faith in those mantras. He also adapted the mantras into his philosophical school of thought. The only thing that he did was he there is a replacement in that mantra from Narayana and Sri Mahalakshmi. In Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sriman Narayana and Sri Mahalakshmi are considered to be the Paratattva, the absolute truth. Right? Whereas in the Ramananda Siddhanta, who is a strong, staunch, ardent devotee of Ramachandra, Sitaram, so he just swapped Narayana to Ramachandra and then Sri Mahalakshmi to Janaki Devi. That's he considered Rama, Sita, and Rama to the Param Tattva, because Rama is none other than personification of Dharma himself. As we can in Ramayana, in Aranyakanda, it is said Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. That means Rama is non-different from Dharma. Dharma and Rama, one and the same. That is what we learn from Ramayana. When every sargam, every kandam and every sargam and everything that we read in Ramayana is all about Dharma. How Rama as a father, as a son, as a husband, as a king, as a friend, as a Swami, how he was, right? It's all about Rama following the Dharma. So therefore, not only that, how to be as a good husband, right? We said that, and how that's from Rama, and how a wife should be, a chaste wife should be, and we can learn that from Mother Sita, and how they ruled Ayodhya, the kingdom, as per the Dharma. So another reason that Ramananda is saying is Rama is easy to understand, easy to approach, easy to meditate. Whereas when we think about Vishnu, Narayana, it's not so easy because they are all distance from our thought. Right? They are distant from our thought. Whereas Ramachandra, very easy. Konasmin sampradam loke gunavan kasya viryavan dharmajnasya kritanyasya satyavakyo dridavritah charitrena ko yuktah sarvabhuteshu ko itah vitvan kahkat samastacha kaschat keka priyadarshanaha आत्मवान को जित क्रोध द्यूतिमान को अनुसूयक कस्य बिभ्यत देवाश्च जातो रोषस्य संयुगे. This is from Ramayana, the first sarga of Ramayana, the second, third, and fourth sloka of Ramayana written by Valmiki, where Valmiki is asking, Valmiki is asking Narada Muni, who is that great personality with all his wonderful qualities. Right? He lists out 16 qualities, asking about who is virtuous, who is vigorous, who is mindful, who is good in deeds, who is a good speaker of truth, who is determined in his deeds, who is very appropriate in his disposition, who is interested in welfare of all beings. So he goes on and on and on with all the list of asking who is this personality. And Valmiki says that is Ramachandra himself. Therefore, Ramachandra is so very easy for one to meditate upon and connect in our life. Whereas it's very hard to connect any other incarnation of the Lord. Krishna is very hard to connect because Krishna exhibited himself as the absolute perfect supreme personality of God with how he was. Right? When Rama came, he did not do that one, even though he exhibited here and there some things about his on the supremacy, but then he was mostly falling into the principle, into the realm of how a human should be. Therefore, Ramachandra is so very easy for us to relate and easy to understand and easy to implement in our life. Ramachandra, how he was mingling with everyone equally without seeing any differences, right? Guha, Shabari, Sugriva, Vibheeshana. Guha was a tribe. So, likewise, Shabari was another tribe, and Sugriva was a monkey. Vibhishana was a Rakshasa, and Jatayu was a bird. We can see, but Ramachandra was not showing any differences. He was just equal to everyone and showing love to all. So, therefore, Ramananda says Ramachandra is so very easy for us to adapt and focus and meditate upon compared to any other avatars. And when he was departing from the world, Ramachandra was departing from the world, unlike others who left and went, everyone, Ramachandra did not do that one. He gathered everyone with him when he left, and he took everyone back to the spiritual world. Therefore, Ramananda says the only God that we all should be praying to, the only God that we can depend on, the only God who is absolute truth, the only God who can take care of us and deliver us from this world is Sri Ramachandra. Therefore, this is a only major big difference between Ramanuja's Vishishta Advaita Siddhanta and Ramananda's Siddhanta. Everything else pretty much identical. Identical. Everything is same except the object of our worship. Is it Lakshmi Narayana or is Sita Rama? Lakshmi Narayana, if we follow Lakshmi Narayana, then we fall into Ramanuja Sampradaya. If we worship and accept Sita Rama as an absolute Param Tattva, then we fall into Ramananda Sampradaya. Based on what we just saw below, Ramanuja Siddhanta, like the similarity between these one identical. As Ramanujacharya said, there are three truths. That is Chit, Achit, Ishvara. Chit means a conscious entity. Achit means non-sentient entity, matter. Ishvara means that one who controls the Chit and Achit. Ramananda also agrees there are three tattvas, Chit, Achit, and Ishvara. Therefore, now what Ramananda did on his school of thought followed the same thing, but over here, if you remember, I said there are three mantras: Ashtakshara mantra, Dvaya mantra, and then Charma sloka, right? Whereas Ramananda also had three mantras in his disciplic succession, but the mantras or the names are replaced with Rama. Mantra should not be openly said. Therefore, I'm not going to recite or tell those mantras, but I'll give you here and there something. For example, Ramaya Namaha. That becomes one mantra. Another one is Ramachandra Sharanam, and then Prapatye and Namaha. That's another mantra. When it came to the third mantra, in Vishishta Advaita Siddhanta by Ramanujacharya, the third mantra is Sarvadharman Parityaja. This mantra everyone knows. There's no anything to hide here. Everyone student of Bhagavad Gita, this is at least one should know this sloka, right? This sloka is Sarvadharman Parityaja Mam Yekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tva Sarvapapebhyah Moksha Ishyami Masuchad. This is Charma sloka, which is the third mantra in Ramanuja Sampradaya, which will be instructed to the disciple at the time of Samashrayanam, called initiation. At the time of initiation, these three mantras are given. The third mantra is the sloka from Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Now, when it comes to Ramananda Sampradaya, the third mantra, like how the first mantra was same, but then Rama name has been replaced, and like the second mantra is also Rama name has been replaced. Rama name is been Narayana's name is replaced by Rama's name, whereas the third mantra, Charma Sloka of Bhagavad Gita, is replaced by Valmiki Ramayan, sixth canto, that is Yuddha Kanta, 18th Sarga, 33rd Sloka. Sakrit eva prapannaya tavasmi iti che yachate abhayam sarva bhutebhyo dadami etat vritam mama. This is another Charma Sloka. There is one other Charma Sloka in Varaha Purana, but focusing on today's topic here, Krishna spoke a Charma Sloka. That is Sarvadharman Sloka. Rama also spoke a Charma Sloka. This is a Charma Sloka. Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmi Itiche Yatache Abhayam Sarva Bhutevyo Tadami Ekat Vratam Mama. A beautiful sloka. This happened when Vibheeshana comes and he's standing near the seashore. He crossed Lanka, he crossed the ocean, he is right there. And he told the monkeys that I'm the brother of Ravana. I'm come here to surrender unto Ramachandra. Could you all please go and inform Ramachandra that I am here? At that time, the monkeys all went to Ramachandra and said, Ravana's brother has come here. Therefore, what's the plan? And Rama said, what's your plan? What do you all think? And everyone had their own opinion. They said, most of them, 99.99% of those monkeys, including Jambavan, was considered a wise man, wise person, not man. So everyone said, Rama, that you should not accept him. You should not accept him. But Rama, I finally said something. You know what? You said that I should not accept him because he is so and so, his brother of so and so. And some of you are saying that he came in a wrong time, wrong muhurta. You said all those different things. Let me ask Hanuman. Hanuman, what is your opinion? And Hanuman said, my dear Lord, I, I have to convey my humble opinion. None of them who spoke and gave their opinion have gone to Lanka. They've never seen Vibhishana. It is only I who have gone to Lanka and seen Vibhishana. And he said, so what? Rama, so what? Vibhishana, Hanuman said, he's a nice person. He's a dharmic person. He's a very good person. Please accept him. At that point of time, Ramachandra said, Hanuman, you're also wrong. This is what it, you're also wrong. You also did not understand my mind, my heart. None of you understood my heart. Hanuman also didn't understand. Yes. Therefore, this sloka was told by Ramachandra that it is not I have to deny him because he's a bad guy coming from Lanka, where Sita has been kidnapped by his own older brother. I should not accept him because you said that he's a good person. I'm going to accept him. I'm going to accept him on just one condition, because he has surrendered unto me. Sakridu eva prapannaya means if someone comes and surrender unto me, even just one time, not multiple time, not multiple, just one ekam, just one time. Sakrideva prapannaya tava asmi iti yachate sarvam abhayam sarvam bhayam abhayam sarva bodhebhyuha tatami etar vitamama. Even if surrenders one time, I will protect him. I will take care of. I will give him my shelter. And this is the Charma Sloka of Ramachandra, which is being adapted by Ramananda in his Sampradaya. So Ramananda's school of thought was growing rapidly in the northern part of India. People started following him, and many joined, many became his disciples, and many appreciated his way of preaching, because he was linking and making practical application of how a human should be, following Ramayana, following Ramachandra. If you are a husband, follow Ramachandra. If you are a wife, follow Mother Sita. If you are a son, follow Ramachandra. If you are a father, follow Ramachandra. If you are the daughter-in-law, follow Mother Sita. If you have a mother, follow Mother Sita. So everything is there in Ramayana. And these two personalities, all we have to think and meditate upon for perfect our life. So that is the message of Ramananda throughout India, especially in the northern part of India. Now let's get into what are some of his writings. It is very clear that Ramananda was a great Rama Bhakta, and also it is very evident. It is proved in all his writings. It is said that he has written three major literature: Ananda Bhashyam, Sri Vaishnav Madhvaja Bhaskaram, and the Rama Charana Pattati. These are the three literatures that he has written. A quick overview of what these books are. The first book, Ananda Bhashya, is nothing but a commentary on Veda Vyas Vedanta Sutram. If you remember, that's where we started this whole presentation. And acharyas usually, to establish their Siddhanta, they write commentary on Vedanta Sutra, Upanishad, and Bhagavad Gita. These three important literatures, Shastra, they give commentary on. So Ananda Bhashya is nothing but a commentary on Veda Vyasa's Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra. And his writing was exactly based on Sri Bhashyam. Sri Bhashyam is a commentary written by Ramanujacharya on Vedanta Sutra. So, being an ardent follower of Ramanujacharya, even Ramananda wrote a commentary on Ananda Bhashya, basing Sri Bhashyam, a commentary written by Ramanujacharya on Vedanta Sutra. But again, in Sri Bhashyam, written by Ramanujacharya, in his Dhyana Sloka, Ramanuja mentioned Srinivasa, Srinivasa as a Parabrahman. Whereas when Ramananda gave his Dhyana Sloka for his writing, he mentioned that Sri Ramachandra is Parabrahman, the absolute truth. That is Ananda Bhashya. The second book, called Sri Vaishnava Madhvaja Bhaskara, this Madhvaja Bhaskara, meaning of that is this book is to establish Ramananda's school of thought, Siddhanta. That's all it is, this book. And then the meaning of this book is that it says that the Sri Vaishnava Madham, the religion, is like a lotus flower, is being blossomed by sun. And that is Ramananda Siddhanta, which blossoms this Vaishnava Sampradaya. The Vaishnava Sampradaya is blossomed by this particular Siddhanta, this particular Sampradaya called Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya. That is established in this particular literature, this Bhaskaram, this Sri Vaishnava Madhvaja Bhaskaram. And then also in this particular book, Ramananda writes about the three Rahasya mantras, the three mantras, Ashtakshara mantra, Dvaya mantra, and Charma Sloka from Valmiki Ramayana. And he also explains about these particular three mantras. And he says the way that this book has been written, it is that it's a conversation between the Sri Ramachandra and the Jivatma, and in between Mother Sita, right? Ramachandra having a conversation with the Jivatma, and there's the mediator in between is Mother Sita, is called Purushakaram. Purushakaram means she stays as a mediator to connect the Jivatma to Paramatma, Jivatma to Ramachandra. Therefore, she plays a very important role in this Sampradaya. Exactly like Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Mahalakshmi plays a very important role to connect the Jivatma to Sriman Narayana. Likewise, over here, the Jivatma is being connected to Ramachandra by the recommendation of Sri Mother Sita Devi. She plays the Purushakara. Now, the third book is called Rama Archana Pattati. Ramacha Pattati is Ramanujacharya has written. One of his writing is called one of his writing is called Gadyam, is called Sharanagadi Gadyam. Yeah, I was just remembering because there are three Gadyams are there: Sharanagadi Gadyam, Vaikunta Gadyam, and Sriranga Gadyam. These Gadyams, these were written by Ramanujacharya. Whereas what Ramananda did was he has taken that Sharanagati Gadyam and written that it's called Rama Archana Pattati. It is a copy of what Ramanuja has written. That's all this work is. So the difference between Ramananda's rework is very simple. The difference in Ramanuja's rework is very simple. His writings and his philosophy is very simple. It's all about Ramanujacharya Sampradaya and Vishishta Advaita Sampradaya. The only difference, the major difference over here is it is Sitaram. Sitaramba Samarambam. Sitanada Samarambam. So it is starting from Sita Nata. Sita Nata means it is Ramachandra. So that's the thing. Now the philosophy is going to be very simple. It is the same philosophy of Ramanujacharya's philosophy, that Advaitam, Vishishta Advaitam. There is no second to this one. Then that is the one with all the attributes together. Attributes are Prakriti and the Jivatma, Chit and Achit. They are all one and together with as an attribute to the Brahman. absolute truth. And that absolute truth as a quality, as activities, it doesn't go through changes. It has attributes and forms. It is describable, right? So that absolute truth has a name, and that name is Ramachandra. That name is Ramachandra. Now, as we already spoken, let's move on to the next one. Yeah. Akila heya pratyanika kalyaneka tana sveta samasta vastu vilakshana anta Jnananandaika Swarupa. This is Ramanujacharya's words, where the Lord is faultless, is full of a single repository of all auspicious qualities, is greater than Chitta and Achita, is free of any boundaries, Kala, Desha, Vastu, is free of any of these things, is formless Jnana and Ananda. And this is exactly what Ramananda also accepts and follows in his Sampradaya. And Ramananda, as a follower of Ramanujacharya, he also adapts that the only way to attain the Lord is by Sharanagati, the process of Sharanagati. And he also says the living entity is Baddhatma, Muktatma, and Nityatma. There are three types of Atmas. One is infected into this karma. Because of the karma, they are a conditioned soul, Baddhatma. And at one point of time, they were conditioned soul, but then they got liberated. They are called Muktatma. And there are Atmas who never came down into this world because of karma, but they may come down under as a service to the Lord, but they are called Nityatmas. And to attain the Lord's lotus feet, it is Sharanagati is the only means by which one can attain the Lord. Besides all this, another thing is the Bhagavad Sangamam. Bhagavad Sangamam means associating with the Lord in the form of the deities and associating with the devotees and having satsanga. These are the only easy ways by which one can overcome desire, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. And what the end result of this one? Service, service, and service. We all engage in the service of the divine couple, Sitaram, in the spiritual world. Now, before we get into the details of and some more information about who are his disciples, another important thing that we need to know about Ramananda is that he is a social reformer. He is a broad thinker. Why? At that point of time, the jati-based discrimination was so heavy in India. Right? If you are not born in certain jatis, in certain caste, then you are treated very low. Yeah? And it's also said that if you are not born in certain family, then you cannot attain moksha. You cannot attain moksha. But Ramananda broke open all those conditions at that point of time during his period. Therefore is greatly appreciated by many that he is a reformer, social reformer. In fact, it is said, seeing his way of approach, even it is said that his own guru, Rahavananda Swami, was warning him not to do these things. And he was trying to correct him that bhakti, whatever the moksha can be attained only by going through the karma, jnana, and bhakti yoga, and being born as a man into a brahmana family, and etc., etc. Right? That only then one can attain moksha. Having a difference of opinion, Ramananda left the ashram and he then opened his own ashram, and he opened his ashram to anyone and everyone. Many people joined appreciating Ramananda for that reason, irrespective of what background he fall into. Therefore, he is considered to be a great social reformer at that point of time. As long as you have a desire of wanting to attain moksha, you can attain moksha by following the Bhakti Marga, by performing Sharanagati. That is very well reflected in his writing, as is said by the researcher, and his classes and in his preaching. It is very clear. Those. And from this also we can understand that how Ramananda is connected to Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, because in Ramanujacharya Sampradaya also the jati is not a criteria to attain moksha. It is not at all. As long as one has a desire, one can attain moksha. Desire, and then I have to surrender to the Lord through an acharya. How can we know this? By in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, there are saints like Pillai Lokacharya, Alagiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, and Vedanta Desika. These are all in the Guru Parampara of Ramanujacharya. In their writing, they very clearly mentioned the way to attain the Lord for anyone and everyone is Sharanagati process. Jati is not a barrier. And therefore, it's very clear that Ramananda has read thoroughly the literatures in the Sri Sampradaya, and he has implemented this the same in the northern part of India. In the northern part. Therefore, we can easily say that Ramananda's Siddhanta is the shadow of Ramanuja's and Siddhanta. The only thing is, Ramananda accepted Rama as a Parabrahman as compared to Ramanuja accepting Narayana as a Parabrahman. Therefore, the Sampradaya, Ramananda Sampradaya is called Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya or Ramananda Sampradaya, or now very famously known as Ramanandis. Even the Ramanandi Sampradaya is very much prominent in the north part of India. They also have a tilak pretty much similar to the Sri Vaishnava tilak on their forehead, Urdu Pundram, a thick one on the forehead, in the red mark in the center. So they are called Ramanandis. They are called Ramanandis. Now, getting into another interesting slide or part of coming to know about Ramananda's disciples, Ramananda's disciples. There are, it is said there are 12, 13, 14 very prominent disciples of Ramananda. Bhavananda was born in a Brahmana family. He became Ramananda's disciple. Another one was Sena. He was a barber. He's a barber. So he became one of the important disciple of Ramananda. And there's a saint, Dharma. And Pipa was a prince by, he was Kshatriya. They are also said to be an immediate disciple of Ramananda and a staunch follower of Ramananda. And interesting that it is said Tulasidas, who is a writer of Valmiki Ramayana, Ramacharita Manas, Tulasi Ramayana, also a disciple in the disciplic succession of Ramananda or direct disciple of Ramananda. But what happened is that Tulasidas, in his writing, he regarded to have made Shiva and Vishnu to be devoted to each other. And because of the slight differences from the Ramananda Sampradaya, where Tulasi also gave importance to Lord Shiva, therefore what happened is that it is said that he was, though he was a disciple of Ramananda, some say that he is not necessarily his disciple, he is out of Ramananda Sampradaya because he gave importance to Lord Shiva as well. Therefore, in that way, he may be considered into a different school of thought. Anyway, coming back to the disciplic succession, it is also said Jayadeva Goswami, who has written Gita Govinda. Some say even Jayadeva Goswami is a disciple of Ramananda, whereas some say he's not a disciple, he's just a Bengali Vaishnava. They say this one. So there are difference of opinions on this one as well. As we should know this, these are all several centuries back, years back. So there are always going to be difference of opinion. Therefore, we can only speak and get some information of what these great souls were and who are their disciples and so forth. So we can only go with some of the information that we have. Another great soul in the disciplic succession of Ramananda is Kabirdas. Kabirdas is a disciple of Ramananda Sampradaya. And later it is said he got separated and there was a separate Sampradaya by Kabir called Kabir Panthi. So he started his own school of thought. Even though Kabir said he's born in a Brahmana family, but he was brought up by a Muslim, a tailor. And that was his profession, Kabir Das. Another great saint was Ravidas, Raidas, who was also a disciple of Ramananda. It is said Mirabai took instruction of Bhakti Marga from Ravidas or Raidas. Raidas was a disciple of Ramananda. Mirabai was connected to Raidas, And Raidas was a disciple of Ramananda. In one sense, we can also say that Mirabai is connected in one way or the other to Ramananda. And besides them, there were women also, a disciple, Sursuri, Padhyavati, or women disciple, prominent women disciples. And it is also said that some of them from Ramanuja Sampradaya adapted Ramananda Sampradaya. Ramanuja from Ramanuja Sampradaya, they came to Ramananda Sampradaya. Some of their name are Sukhananda, Asananda, Paramananda, Mahananda, Sri Ananda. All these great souls were from Ramanuja Sampradaya. They came to and adopted Janaki Vallabha Sampradaya. In Ramananda's Sampradaya, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, and grahasthas are given importance, and the grahastha's duty they follow this very strictly. The grahastha's duty is to take care of the vanaprasthas and sannyasis and provide them necessary needs to these two classes of varnashram ashram. And then, as this is the last slide of the presentation. So what we can understand here is that Ramananda was a Dirgadarshi. Dirgadarshi was foreseeing the future of the Kali Yuga. And the Kali Yuga is going to degrade. How is Kali Yuga is going to degrade? And people are still following and trying to follow and stick on to the caste system is not going to work. Therefore, he brought the process of the Bhakti Marga, a Sharanagati process, to the north and open for anyone and everyone to understand, to take up the bhakti and attain the lotus feet of Sita. And he also very clearly said that absolute truth is Rama is unlimited, has unlimited qualities, is faultless, and is the only one who can save us. And Jivatma's duty is somehow or the other develop bhakti and then surrender to the Lord and attain the Lord. And this particular sampradaya is spread, as we said, in Bengal, in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, and all these different places. So Ramananda Sampradaya is very easy to understand. It's just because we went through all the difficult Sampradayas before, and the Sampradaya is a shadow of Ramanuja's Vishishta Advaita Sampradaya. Let us all offer our pranam at the lotus feet of Ramananda for us to bless us with the mood of bhakti and Sharanagati, perform Sharanagati at the lotus feet of Sitaram to become their eternal servants. With that said, thank you all very much. Thanks for joining, and